las preguntas. Sí, rompe tu preludio y dime cómo es que yo soy yo del origen de esa gran explosión.
All right, welcome to today's exchange live session. My name is Abel Mireles. Let me make sure that is reflected here. And I'm happy to be here today with you guys. There's a bunch of things that we're doing with the Jazz Exchange, and I'd like to share a couple of them. Some of the main things that we're trying to do with this platform that we've been building up for several years now is we're trying to create a space for artists to come out and do present their music to different audiences. You know, we have been providing new venues to jazz artists to come and do what they do best, to come and bring their music. So today it's a very special session that we're gonna do because we have a very special guest. It's an amazing young musician, pianist from New York. I'll get to introduce him sooner than later. But first of all, make sure to, if you want to know more about what we're doing with the Jazz Exchange, make sure to follow the social media stuff that we're doing. You could go to our Instagram, as you should be seeing on the screen right now, all our social handles. If you want to check out what's going on with our Facebook, our YouTube, now this is the second week that we're doing the Exchange Live sessions, also streaming on our YouTube channel. So our YouTube channel is a nice platform that where you can find live performances from our secret shows before the pandemic. So not only you can just check out the live streams that we're doing, but then you can also check out some of the previous concerts that we were setting up in the New York area and actually in places like Mexico City as well. So you can go and check out some of the previous performances of different various artists. The Jazz Exchange has been an organization that's been trying to support upcoming musicians as well as established and legendary musicians. Like we had a chance to work with Mr. Charlie Persib that passed away recently. We were doing one of his fundraisers for his medical expenses. Fortunately, he left us maybe less than a couple months, and we hope he's resting in peace. So let me tell you more about what we're doing. So you already know our website, social media. Make sure to go check out that stuff. We also want to tell you about our educational program that started about a couple of years ago, in collaboration with this very cool organization, nonprofit organization based in Montclair, New Jersey. It's called Jazz House Kids. And what we started doing is we started connecting some of the kids from the border towns of El Paso and Juarez and bringing them over to the summer workshop that they're doing this last year. Because of this last summer, because of the pandemic, the organization had to do it virtually, and that somehow give access to even more kids that can participate of the camp via Zoom and from home and whatnot. So it's still reaching out to the new generations that really want to learn more about this music. And also partnering with SMART, this corporate in Juarez that sponsored the kids to come all the way over here a couple years in a row. And so if you want to become a sponsor of some of these kids or some other kids from different parts of the country or the world, you can go to our website and check out all the details on how to do that. So we are constantly fundraising for this different programs that we have. Another program that we're fundraising for is the the Jazz Exchange Relief Fund. We started this as soon as the pandemic started, and and we raised funds and we started distributing the funds to some of the musicians that fill out our work. We started doing some of this virtual jazz sessions. It's another program we started, well, where musicians were able to record themselves from home, and we would piece the video and the audio together, and then this way they can continue doing their music, based on the circumstances. We all know it's not ideal. We all want to play in person in front of you guys, and because of safety measures, we cannot do that right now. So the virtual jazz sessions program is a program that allows musicians to continue making music and in a certain way doing some gigs from home. And I think this whole thing has really pushed musicians to learn more about recording themselves at home, from all the way from that to, like, some of us video editing our stuff, and it's kind of intense, but we're doing it and we're tackling the whole thing. We're gonna be over this, and so hang in there. So okay, now to let me see if I'm not missing anything. Oh yes, National Hispanic Heritage Month is September 15th through October 15th. So if you have a Hispanic friend, just go say hi. If you don't, make one. Why not? Food is really good, and we're cool people, for the most part. So make sure to be aware of those things. Be aware not just of his National Hispanic Heritage, but other heritage too as well. I think we gotta celebrate the diversity of all the backgrounds that we have. I think this world is about that. It's about creating this community and this connection between human beings, and these differences are what makes these relationships even better. So with that in mind, I'd like to introduce our next guest. This young musician is an amazing composer, pianist, arranger, you name it. This guy is an entrepreneur. I don't know if he considers himself as that, but I think he is such an entrepreneur, really cutting through a lot of through the music industry, and making the way into it. Now he's playing with everybody. He's recording his music. He's doing some film scoring too as well. He's teaching, and I had a chance to actually work with him through the Jazz Exchange for the first time when I first met him in person, doing one of our secret shows with, I believe he was playing with Adam Larson, and we did something in Washington Heights in Manhattan. So without further ado, I'd like to keep talking about this gentleman and asking him personally some of these questions that I have written down right here. Please welcome Mr. Fabian Almazan. How you doing, man? Thanks. Hey, there you go. You too. So you have a Hispanic friend on me, man. Thanks for the time, man. Oh, there you go. There you go. You're a little bit far, man, but still close. You're still close. Thanks for making the time, man, and I'm so glad that you're here with us. Can you hear me good? You hear me good, right? I hear you really good too. Okay, cool, awesome. I hope everybody can hear us good. Yeah, man. Thanks for making a little bit of time and into staring into the computer in a couple hours more, right? Have you been doing a lot of computer work? Yeah, right. Plus you. I know, right? That's good, man. Yeah, we've been Kens and I we've been at the house and doing all these things, and the more that you do projects, the more that you're like, okay, I actually have to be more in the computer, but you have to make some time. We made some time to take a walk every day, so that keeps us sane, right? And just looking at the trees and nature is super good.
Can't hear Fabian.
Oh, give me a second, Fabian. Working some technical situation here. I just want to make sure that we can hear you. they say that we cannot hear you. So what I'm gonna do is, oops, let me see here. Let me keep doing this stuff really quick. Okay, audio input. Okay. All right. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It's this technology situation is interesting. Oh, this is super soft. Okay. We're still trying to figure this out. As we do that, let me just double check this right here. Okay. How is that? Can you give us a couple of sing us a song or something?
I don't think you want me to do that.
Right.
I think the sound will automatically just mute itself in
Right.
the entire continent of Australia. Yeah.
So you're not a singer, man.
No, well, I mean, I'm like a Keith Jarrett singer. Like, yeah, it's just like grunts and sounds of
Oh,
pain.
that's
That's what.
good. That's good singing.
Yeah.
Man, we just lost Gary Peacock, right? Oh
Yeah.
man. That
Yeah.
okay, so that's better. Great. So now we can hear
Okay.
you
Cool.
better. It's probably something that I did wrong, but we're good now. Yeah,
Cool.
man, we just lost him. That's crazy. I remember just growing up listening to his trio, the three of them. Man,
Yeah.
sad, but
Yeah.
is the cycle of life, right? We're not here forever. That's one thing for sure that we have in this life.
Yeah. And
We're
I
all
mean,
going.
his spirit will live on. I really, I don't like to idolize people.
Right,
I just feel like that's kind of a dangerous territory
right,
to go to because especially in this art form, the whole idea of it is that everybody has their voice and we share it with each other. But having said that, there's something about Gary Peacock to me that really resonated with me.
hmm,
He had a way of just going for shit, like just really, like just jumping out there and just seeing where he would land. And I feel like music needs more Gary Peacocks. Sometimes it would go a certain way, and then other times not so much. But you have to have that sense of exploration and just jump into it. And
right.
he was like, yeah,
And it would you say that it's I don't think that it was by luck, right? That this three gentlemen
no,
started.
no,
It's almost like if it's like a search, right? I mean, now that I'm thinking about it, my personal as a, my personal experience as a musician, it's always been sort of a search into finding the right people that connect that allows that connection allows you to take the music to another level, right? I don't know
yeah,
if you
yeah,
share that, but I know we're kind of going already into it and getting deep. But man, there's many things that I like to talk to you about. I know you're visiting us virtually from Australia, right?
yeah.
Nice, man.
I'm in Western Australia in Perth, which geographically, if you were to overlay the U.S. over Australia, I'm somewhere around like L.A.
Nice,
It's
man.
yeah,
Without the, of course, I'm sorry to know that this is
yeah,
happening in LA without the fires and all that.
yeah,
I feel it for all the people. I was just talking earlier to one of my former teachers, saxophone player Matt Goldsberg, and he lives in LA, in the LA area, and he was just like, man, a couple of days ago, the sky was brown, and with everything that's going on. I was like, no, I feel you, man. So I find it great that even though this is going on, we talk to each other, and we kind of encourage ourselves to just keep going. And he's such a great influence for me. But anyways, so you're in Australia, and you got good weather. Nice. It seems like it's nice weather out there, right? And
yeah,
you got your family over there. That's wonderful.
yes.
We were talking about this earlier, so just kind of touch briefly on that. No cases, right?
Yeah, well, yeah. I have a huge sense of guilt about that because my family and friends are in the U.S., but for health risk situation, we had to make the choice of coming here.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, for a variety of reasons.
Right.
But yeah, Perth, Western Australia has been very strict in its quarantine laws. I mean, the entire country
In general.
in Australia has been very strict. So I had to fill out about 100 pages of forms to get here.
Wow.
Once we arrived, we were screened at the airport. Then we were escorted by the police directly from the airport
Oh,
to
wow.
a hotel that's been taken over by the government. So now it's no longer an intercontinental. It's an Australian
Wow.
hotel. And then we were put in a room there for 15 days. Um, and if we so much as thought of just stepping outside 1 foot, that's a $50,000 fine and jail time.
Wow. That's
So
crazy.
it might seem like it's extreme, but you have a state here that's the size of California, and yesterday there's 3 cases, but the 3 cases are in that quarantine facility, so they're being monitored. They'll spend their 2 weeks there, and then they'll get the virus out of their system. If any of them need to go to the hospital, they get taken to the hospital immediately.
Wow.
So,
That's
I
cool.
mean, it's got nothing to do, absolutely zero to do with politics. It's just science,
It's
you
like
know.
let's tackle this, right? It's
Yeah,
that I mean, no, like you said, it might sound like it's very strong measures, but if it's working for that particular part of the world, like I'm sure if it's implemented in different places of the world, it's just like the seriousness of it, right? Are you gonna, how much effort are you gonna put on to really get rid of this real threat So
yeah. I
I
mean, if sorry, go ahead.
no, no, go ahead, go ahead.
Oh no, it's just there's a level of mistrust for some reason, not just in the United States but throughout the world, in experts and people that have dedicated their lives to studying certain topics and subjects. Um, I don't get that, to be honest.
Right. Yeah, it's very interesting, man.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad that you're doing okay. You and your wife, Linda, are doing fine, and the rest of the family. Um, Man, I like to talk to you about different topics, and I like to jump on it. I know you're a Cuban American pianist. Just to kind of briefly tell people what's going on. Can you tell us just briefly about your backgrounds? You know, you coming from Cuba. Did you grow up in Cuba? And what were your musical? Where did you start in music? Or did you start over there? Did you start over here?
It's actually crazy because I've toured all over the world. Well, not currently, but it's always fascinating to me. I think as Mexicans and Cubans, we have one thing in common that pretty much anywhere we go in the world, we will find one of us. So the other day I was here at the university, and this bassist comes up to me. He's like, "Oh, I said it." And he was Cuban. Not only was
Really?
he Cuban, but he grew up like 6 blocks away from where I grew up in
Oh
Havana.
wow, that's
So,
crazy.
and he says, like, "Yeah, it's pretty much just you and me. Like that's it. There's no,
Wow, that's awesome. Well, that's good. I mean,
yeah,
I feel you on that. Doing some cruise ships it was always very interesting, just like being around the world, and then just like, hey, yeah, okay, yeah, cool, cool.
yeah,
And it's good. It's good to kind of just
yeah.
connect again. So you started music. So did you go to one? Because I have some friends that are Cuban, and some of them I remember hearing about the discipline of the music in Cuba.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
classical influence, right? Is
yeah.
that what you experience?
Yeah, absolutely. So I was born in Havana. I grew up in a neighborhood called Novedal, which is the zoo is was very close to where I grew up, and a huge cemetery called Zapata. So
Mm-hmm.
those were like my two places that I really love to go.
Mm.
Yeah. So when I was growing up, the Soviet Union still had very strong ties with the U.S. So
Mm.
all of my piano books were in Russian. It was a very strict, like classical piano school uh, dictatorship.
Right.
It's an interesting mix because you're in the Caribbean, but you have like this staunch sort of like Soviet approach to music as
Mm-hmm.
in addition to the African thing. So yeah, it was from the first day that I started playing the piano. It wasn't like a hobby, you know. Like as a 7 year old, like you learn to have respect for the tradition
Mm.
and the art form. It's like it's music is sacred.
Mm.
You know, you have to treat it with respect and admiration.
That's amazing. That's really cool. Like that it's not as what is it called and nowadays in curriculum it's not elective or it's like if you're gonna do music you're doing it for real, right? That's very interesting.
Yeah,
That's really
because
cool.
I do wholeheartedly believe that music can save lives. You know, granted, I'm not a doctor, I'm nothing like that, but you know, it's my mind and soul,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that it's sad when society starts losing its connection to its emotional well being, and I do believe that the way to have a healthy mind and heart is yes, you can be academically knowledgeable about the sciences and mathematics and all those things, and that empowers you. But there's got to be a balance of your ability to emotionally have an outlet that's accurate to how complicated these abstract emotions that we're feeling are. I
Mm.
mean, you know, it might Britney Spears is the person that comes to mind. It might provide a certain outlet for someone, and I'm not discounting that.
Right.
I'm not taking away from the validity of somebody feeling a genuine joy from listening to Britney Spears.
Right.
But I'm fairly confident that your emotions are more nuanced than the music that she's providing. There's a lot more in
Mm.
the undercurrents of our consciousness that really needs an outlet. And if you don't give it an outlet, you get what we're getting in the U.S. that it's just people behaving aggressively and just not being able to be in touch with their emotions. So it turns into a mess.
Right. Right.
It's
I No,
yeah
definitely. I agree with you because it's almost like if we conduct ourselves in this or we build this society that believes that the only thing that matters is the physical situation is whatever we can touch, but then it's ignorant, in such a huge level that we're not considering that our mind is also something that we have to keep exercising, that we keep, and that music and art and culture are the food that we need to put in our system. and
yeah
and so it's like putting it on the side. Oh, you don't need those things, and then then your whole mind breaks, and then that's when people are, oh, okay, yeah, you needed to actually relax and you needed to actually listen to good music. Oh, well, now you telling me,
yeah.
so no, I
And you
totally
know,
get it.
and that's not to say that I'm coming down on people. You know, I grew up extremely poor, so I know that for a lot of parents, it's just survival mode. Like,
That's
what
true.
can I do to have food on my child's plate? I understand that. What I'm what, the people responsible for our lives are in the government, and they're not prioritizing the arts.
Right.
Uh,
Yeah.
so hello to everyone that just got pissed off with what I said. That's how I feel.
No, that's good, man. So you started playing music there. Most of your training was classical, and then how did you connect with jazz, man? How did you this whole thing of playing jazz started?
Well, I should say my dad was a bass player, and
Mm.
the first music I remember hearing was Weather Report, Jaco Pastorius.
Ooh,
So
nice.
that has always been in my ears since as long as I can remember. And then it was actually a funny combination of things. I didn't start playing jazz till I was 14 or 15, and yeah, so yeah. One of the first things that happened is Obed Calvier, the drummer, We both went to the same school, the same high school, New World School of the Arts in Miami,
Mm-hmm.
and he was old. I mean, it seemed like he was like 20 years older than me, but he's only really like 2.5 years older than me.
Right.
But when you're in high school, it seems that way. So I remember one day after school, I was in a practice room, and I went to the bathroom. I was going back to my practice room, and I overheard some playing in a room. So I kind of just like opened the door a little bit to just see what was going on, and it was kind of a life changing moment for me. Obed was in there playing, and there was just something so moving to like it just made me feel so alive to see the way that they were improvising and that they were taking the music and giving it shape based on who they were. Like I could tell Obed's uh, life was coming out through his playing.
Nice.
So that was a very decisive moment where I was like, I want to do that.
And you were at that point. You were only playing classical music still at that point, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Very
Yeah.
interesting, man. That's really awesome, man.
And which is not to say that I don't. I love classical music to
Right.
this day. I told you earlier I'm taking conducting lessons from a conductor here, and I'm like really getting into Debussy's scores from the point of view of a conductor. I absolutely adore classical music. I couldn't imagine a world without it.
Right.
But there's just something about being able to like musically communicate with other musicians in real time, and also the culture of jazz. I mean that's some serious stuff. You know,
Right.
it's some heavy stuff. Whereas the Western classical world, in my opinion, not so much.
Right. No. And
yeah.
you know, brings me to the point that because I like to. We have some really cool videos that you're gonna share with us, and and I like to show people the first one, and it's basically. Can you tell us about this video that we're gonna show first? That it's actually a song from your latest album, correct? Can you tell us about that real quick?
Which one is it? Sorry.
We're doing.
This is yeah.
Oops. Let me see. The first song we're doing is the first song of your album, which is it now in terms of sound.
Oh yeah.
Is it you incorporating some of this classical music, right?
Yeah, I think that one's Benjamin. Is it the one that's just trio?
No, actually, you know what? I have it loaded.
Oh, it's the one with the strings and everything.
Yes, exactly.
Oh yeah. So that one's called Alcanza, and for
Alcanza,
everybody that's
right.
everybody that's Spanish speaker, Alcanza means to reach.
To reach.
And the idea of that work is just to, how we were mentioning earlier, music as medicine. Just trying to provide people with that sort of extra little push they need to reach for whatever it is that they want in life. Hence, Alcanza. This video was recorded at the Harlem Jazz Museum.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and it features a string quartet. I've always been very much into classical music, how you said earlier, and not just classical music, but that specific instrumentation, which I feel, human emotion has a very wide spectrum, and the timbre of the strings for me open it up to a certain little section of that spectrum that I just feel it resonates with me. So yeah, Alcanza. It features Camila Mesa singing and my beautiful wife.
Right, awesome.
Yeah.
So this is from your album, also named Alcanza, right?
Yeah, the Alcanza suite. And the first movement is called Vida Absurda y Bella, which is life absurd and beautiful.
So this is a suite, right? This is part of the suite that you wrote. Okay, so check it out, people. This is Alcanza. This is a wonderful video. I hope you enjoy it, and here it is.
Ve, haz las preguntas. Sí, rompe tu preludio y dime cómo es que yo soy. Yo, del origen de esa gran explosión.
Man, that was really cool. Man, like I got a chance to check it out earlier too. Beautiful, man. The music, the video, the artist that you have in there. I saw you have Henry Cole on drums, right?
Yeah, yeah,
You have your wife Linda on bass.
yeah.
Uh, who else is in it? It's who are the string players?
Megan Gould and Tomoko Okura are the violinists, and Karen Waltuck on viola, and Noah Hoffield on cello.
Nice,
We've been working together now for, I don't know, 10 years. So it's been
nice.
great.
So,
They're all wonderful musicians, wonderful people.
man, tell us about Alcanza, the album in general, and the suite that you wrote, and the people that you decided to get involved.
Yeah, well, Camila Mesa is somebody
Camila,
who's,
ooh,
uh, yeah,
amazing.
I I first found out about her. I think it was in Queens. I went to a terraza gig that she had because somebody recommended her. Um, and after that, like I just kind of stalked her for a couple weeks. Like I would just go to her most random gigs because there was just something about her singing and her approach that really moved me. And I had never really considered writing lyrics or anything before, but that was when I realized, okay, there's somebody here that there's something about what she does that really is kind of what I'm hearing.
Right.
So yeah, and it's been really nice to see her career take off. And she's doing great, which is wonderful. My wife is the my hero. She's the
Woo.
best musician I know. Not much more I can say there. I mean, it speaks for itself.
Right.
Henry, same thing.
Henry, man.
We've been playing together for a long time, and he's just one of the most committed musicians I've ever met in my life. He like eats, sleeps, and poops music. He's just
Right.
that's all he does.
Right.
Um, and the string quartet that they've all been vital to what
Right.
I do because they're all very good musicians. They're all very good people, and they have a lot of patience with me. And I'm not a string player, so every time I'm a little confused about how to write something. They're always very open and uh, yeah, they always give it 100%. So I
That's
couldn't ask for anything better.
that's good, right? Because sometimes I've been in situations where like you're not, I'm not a trumpet player. And sometimes I write some things, and then I get some trumpet players. They're like, "Man, I don't know. Where did you write this stuff?" And
Yeah,
sometimes, so I'm glad they're nice with you. That's really cool, man. Man,
yeah.
what is Salkansa about? This is your latest album, right? And by the way, it's available. It's not on all platforms, is it? Is on
I think it
iTunes.
is.
It's in Spotify too, and all of them. Great. So people check it out. So it is your latest album, right?
No, my latest album came out in 2019. Akasa came out in 2017, I think. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So you're we'll get to hear your some uh some songs from your latest album, right? I think the following
Yeah,
judgment, right?
I think the other two videos you have were from the latest album.
So
Yeah.
what is Alcanza about though?
It's just about encouraging people to reach for what it is that makes them happy. I found out about somebody named Joseph Campbell a while ago. He was the inspiration. I'm not a Star Wars super fan or anything. I haven't even seen all the movies. So, but George Lucas, who actually had the honor of working with in
Oh
one of the movies,
wow.
we can talk about.
You
But
haven't
he
seen
was
the
very.
movies? Oh, come on. No, it's good. It's good. I haven't seen it either.
But George Lucas was very much influenced by Joseph Campbell,
Mm,
who he had a series of interviews called "The Power of Myth." So Joseph Campbell specialized in studying mythology throughout the world and the different patterns that each culture follows. So that every tribe has very similar stories, even though they were in
mm,
different regions of the world. So Joseph Campbell's findings after learning about every single culture, well, it's impossible to learn about every
right.
single one, but the
Right.
majority of them, his sort of encapsulating um, finding is follow your bliss. That's his thing.
Mm,
So I've always tried to live my life by that motto. It's just following my bliss, which I can tell you do the same. You know, you guys work so hard. You and your wife work so hard to not, you're very resilient and you persevere. So you have it. You're following that bliss. So I just want to encourage everybody to do that because I
mm.
really do think that the world is a better place when everybody lives their lives according to what makes them happy rather than trying to please everybody else.
That's true. Very
Yeah.
valuable thing, man. That's wonderful, man. So as we we learn more about you, because man, I've only had a couple chance to actually have a conversation with you, so I'm really having a good time. I know kind of just touching back on when I first met you live. It was at that gig, the secret show that we were doing
Yeah,
in
that was very
Maryland.
cool.
That
Yeah.
was really cool, right? It turned out to just be really awesome. I mean, um, the band was on point. The people were like on point too, and so every time after that that you do something, I'm like, oh man, let me check out what Fabian is doing, because you it's been a minute since that time. And then I know you incorporated into teaching at Jazz House Kids too. So you're teaching. What are you teaching with them though?
I was teaching composition.
Composition, right? Are you
Yeah.
doing something throughout the whole year, or that was only for the summer?
It was only for the summer. I think there might be something later down the line.
Oh,
But yeah,
great.
it's just
That's
summer. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember, man, the summer thing that you were doing with your students. It was wonderful. I had a chance to teach that too as well. I was teaching one of the big bands, but your composition students, man, wonderful. And you know, just brings me to the point that I'd like to talk to you about. You as a composer and jumping into this whole industry of, or I don't know if you want to call it, I believe it's an industry. The whole film scoring thing. How did you, because sometimes as jazz musicians, that we come to this part of the world, we trying to learn the music and we trying to make it. We trying to we want to work, man. We want to play and whatnot. And sometimes it's so overwhelming with so many things. Already learning the style and learning your instrument. How did you, as a learner of the as a student of the music, got into spreading your wings and some of those things? Is this something that was already started from the beginning, or you kind of got introduced into film scoring by some of your peers out here? How did it work out?
Well, I mean, I've always just been attracted to art in general, all sorts of art. My parents met at the Art La Laena in Cuba.
Mm.
My dad was a bass player, and my mom was a ballet dancer and then actress.
Oh wow.
So they had lots of friends that were in the arts. Growing up, we would go to the painter studios and things like that. I remember seeing actually Raul Castro's daughter.
Mm.
She was a performance artist, and so we would go to see her performance art, which was crazy. It was, I mean, for a 6-year old to see that stuff. My parents were very open minded.
That's really
But
cool.
yeah,
That's
but
awesome.
yeah, I've always just wanted to, how we were speaking earlier. I'm just fascinated by human emotion
Mm.
and how nuanced it is, how seemingly complicated yet simple and primal it can be. And so yeah, it's always just been curiosity. I'm curious to learn how we perceive emotion, how the arts helps people. Um, yeah, so I mean it's also that in a combination of growing up poor. I didn't have a computer till I was in my 20s.
Right.
Um, so by that time, I was very interested in electronic music and film scoring go hand in hand.
Oh, I see. I see. Okay.
Yes, so yeah, I just wanted to learn more and more and more, and to this day, I continue to. to just trying to learn more about all of that stuff. I really didn't think about music as a career till I realized that it was my career.
Right.
I was just following my bliss and trying to learn how it all works.
Did you take class maybe when you were in school or something like that that really kind of explained to you all the steps or things that you, or this is more like a exploration that you started doing it and the opportunity came to actually write for a film.
Oh, for film. Well, yeah, I took while I was in Manhattan School of Music, I took a film scoring class. Yeah, and then I did workshops. I did the Sundance workshop. I'm actually currently doing the BMI one.
Oh, nice.
Uh, yeah, which is it's really it's really fun to get up at 3 a.m. here to be able to like join in online with everyone.
So the
I'm
class.
yawning like every two
Wow, it's
seconds.
at 3 in the morning. Wow, that's
Yeah,
crazy. Well, that's commitment right there, and you trying to really jump on that for sure. That's really awesome, man. Hey, man, I like to show people, because we got some of these wonderful videos. I like to show them the second video, which is
sure.
Benjamin, um,
Yeah,
and that's from the This Land Abounds with Life. That's your latest album now, if I got that
yeah,
correct.
yeah,
So how about we listen to it and then you can tell us more about it.
yeah.
So
Sounds good.
we're actually gonna check out the video. So this is Benjamin. This is one of your compositions, and
Mhm.
you guys can check out um, the his Fabian's latest album. It's on all the platforms as well, and I hope you enjoy this. All right, man. Again, wonderful video. Now this is more of a setting of a trio, your trio. Tell us more about this wonderful tune, man. It's got some nice stuff, man, all over the place.
Yeah, it's called Benjamin after a character in a novel called Animal Farm.
Mm.
Benjamin is the donkey in that farm in that book. And that book was banned in a lot of communist countries, including Cuba. And I just think it's very relevant to these times. The donkey is essentially the character in the book. That's the book that has that famous line: "All animals are equal, but some animals are more equal than others." Uh,
Oh,
yeah,
okay, I see.
which essentially, it's just alluding at just some people's obsession with power, and it's dangerous when that's not kept in check, and people can suffer because of it. And I just think it's very relevant in these times throughout the world. There's some very power hungry people out there that, in my opinion, are making things worse. So we
Right.
have to not forget the past. Yeah,
Right, right. It's important to learn what we've been through so that we don't fall into the same
yeah,
holes,
exactly.
right? Man,
Yeah,
it's wonderful music. I really, really loved your writing. You know, as I'm personally saying this, love the stuff that the projects, and I really find it very interesting how you, uh, coming from Cuba and then you lived in Florida in Miami for some time, right?
well, I lived in what I called back then a DF for about half a year.
That's right. That's
Yeah,
right. The DF. It's not DF anymore for some
yeah, yeah,
reason. I don't know why.
yeah,
But it's
yeah,
Ciudad de Mexico now, or Mexico City. But so you
yeah.
lived there for 6 months.
Yeah, yeah. So we very illegally left Cuba and ended up in Mexico. We lived there for 6 months. I went to like four different schools in those
Oh
6 months.
wow.
And yeah, then we snuck in through the border into El Paso.
Right.
Um, and then from there, we slowly made our way to Miami. And I lived in Miami from 1993 till 2002, right
Okay.
when I graduated high school. Yeah.
And then you move out here. That's right.
Well, after that, I went to California for a year.
Oh, I
Um,
see.
and then from California to New York, and now I'm in Australia. So,
That's
yeah,
wonderful, man. I know. I got some more stuff that I like to talk to you. One of the main things that I like to talk to you about is about Biophilia Records. You are the founder and director currently of this label. Can you tell us about what's Biophilia? I know it's a record label that you have, but it has a very interesting story behind it.
yeah. So I've always been very much drawn towards nature, and climate change has always been very important to me. Um, I almost became a biologist actually.
Mm.
It was between that and music and music one. But yeah, it's just I remember being on tour and the band that I was playing with was going through the West Coast. So we went through Seattle, which has an amazing zoo where they're doing a lot of conservation work, and San Diego, which also has an amazing zoo and they're doing incredible conservation work as well. During that time, I had learned about E.O. Wilson, who's an etymologist. He studies insects,
Mm.
and he wrote a book called Biophilia. And just the timing of all those things, something clicked, and I realized I could have both these worlds that I love so much, the nature, science, and music put together. Because in San Diego, was it San Diego or Seattle? One of those two. It just so happened that in that zoo, Herbie Hancock was playing a concert.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, so it was just like, okay, this can work. These two worlds can be together. So then I started going to the Museum of Natural History in New York, and I met somebody named Michael J. Foster,
Mm.
uh, a gay black man in the sciences. So he stood out.
Right.
um, and yeah, so I learned a lot from him, as far as sustainability and uh, just the injustices that happen to the Black community as a result of climate change,
Mm.
and not just the Black community, but anybody living. You don't necessarily have to be Black. I didn't mean it that way. But statistically speaking, the Black communities are the ones that are hit the hardest,
Mm.
because there's more pollution in those neighborhoods. The people. The term is historically underrepresented groups.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Underrepresented
so that,
groups, yes.
yeah, so that really sheds some light on the subject that, most people, when they think about climate change and sustainability, they picture like panda bears, koalas, and like polar bears. But there's many different aspects to it. So originally, I wanted Biophilia Records to be an organization for minorities, for HUGs, historically underrepresented groups.
Mm.
But then I had another tour in South Africa, and I went to the Apartheid Museum, and it was one of the most life changing moments in my life. I spoke to South Africans that had been alive during the apartheid, and it made me realize that I want to bring people together. I don't want to separate people. I want to.
Mm.
So the idea of the label being for minorities, such as myself and you,
Mm-hmm.
I just threw it out the window and just said, everybody, let's all come together. How Nelson Mandela. His philosophy. Let's just embrace each other's cultures. So
Mm.
that's what happened. I started a label that's it doesn't have a genre per se. Most of the music happens to be jazz, but what really brings all the artists together is the fact that they care about the environment.
Mm.
As a label, we are proactive about our commitment to sustainability. We don't make CDs. We make these. We make these things, which are called biofolios. They're made entirely out of paper. When you unfold them, they look like this.
Oh wow.
So it has a lot of liner notes inside, front and back, and each one has a download code here,
Oh
so that
wow.
so that
Okay.
people can download the music, and it eliminates the need for plastic. There's less plastic in the environment as a result. And the joke I always say, if you don't like the music, you can recycle this.
That's a good
uh,
one. Yeah.
Yeah, and when before COVID-19 hit, we would go out and volunteer in person throughout the community to clean up rivers and plant trees and things like that. We've also started a new initiative where we're commissioning writers and people, doing the work of climate change more in the front lines of that. So each month we have it's called Impacts. Each month we have a writer who highlights something that's going on in the world that they feel needs to be paid attention to. Our last writer was somebody living in Nairobi in Kenya,
Mm-hmm.
and just talking about how things are there as far as environmental injustices.
Right. So that man, it's wonderful how like you transformed as like your original idea into this that we all share. We all share this environment and we need to take care
Yeah,
of it, right? And man, that's a
yeah,
wonderful idea. The whole thing of this recycle beautiful piece that people can buy and just get a download. Wow, I've never seen that before. That's really cool. So and now it's more clear for me of how because one of my questions was how is music and environmental justice come together. So you guys are hands on. You guys when now with COVID it's hard, but now before that and I'm sure after you were partnering up with organizations that care about the environment and literally goes back to the first thing that we were talking about, how music really is something that can really help people, right?
yeah.
It's not just
That can
something that
can
exactly
save lives. Yeah.
save lives. Yes.
Yeah,
Man.
we have a band. You probably know these guys, Jesse Lewis and Ike Sturm. They have a duo called The Endless Field, and they did an amazing project where they went out with a photographer and videographers that do work for National Geographic, and they recorded their entire album in the wilderness.
Oh
Uh,
wow.
yeah, So yeah,
So they're your artists. They're Biophilia Records.
Well, they're not my artists,
Well,
but
yeah,
their music has been put out through Biophilia.
through Biophilia. Right.
And yeah, so all of the profits from that album are going to be donated to the Natural Resources Defense Council, which is the NRDC.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So real things that you're doing there. Man, brings me to the next tune that I'd like to share with you. It also involves the environment, and this video and this song is called "The Poet," right? So
the Poets, yeah.
So let's check it out, and then we can talk a little bit more about that. Is that okay?
Yep.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
So this is "The Poet," composition by Mr. Fabian Almazan. I hope you guys enjoy it.
Dice, yo poeta, dentro del monte, hago la décima mía, con cariño y alegría por el pico de un sinsonte. Haciendo el mejor confronte del verso firme y más sano. Y yo, como soy cubano, te hago una poesía para celebrar el día. Me gusta el punto cubano.
Muchas gracias.
Gracias a ustedes.
Muchísimas gracias.
All right, man. That was nice, man. I really love the. I mean, the video already itself is. I love how you incorporated some of these visual things, but even deeper the the whole story behind it. So tell us a little bit more about the poets. My bad. The poets of your latest record, the land. This land abunds with life. This is your latest record, and it's all the platforms. So go out there
Mhm.
and check out and get this music. If you can buy it, it's even better. It's more support to the artist. It's in Bandcamp. I know Bandcamp has a couple of things that you can do. I believe once a month, where the money goes directly to the artist, something like that. Whatever, however you want to do it, make sure to go out there and check out his music, Fabian Almazan's music. Tell us a little bit more about the poets.
Yeah, so the poets, after being gone for 23 years, I went back to Cuba. In part thanks to the Jerome Fund, I was able to get a grant to travel down there. It was an extremely emotional trip for me. There were lots of tears. um,
I bet.
but yeah, so I was in a place called Las Terrazas, which is west of Havana. It's a conservation area, and I had hired field biologists to help me out in the jungles and stuff to find these beautiful birds.
Oh, nice.
This is the tocororo. It's the Cuban national bird.
Oh,
Um, but anyway, we were going down this road, and I was telling him that I'm a musician, and that I'm also looking for like the elders, any musicians in town that really live and breathe this music and its history. And right as I told him that, like he was like, "Arr, stop the car!" So on the side of the road was this older man. It was like Don Quixote, and it's like one of these old figures. And he's like, "That's the guy. That's the old man in the town that
you want to talk?
he does what's he does what's called decimas and punto, which you probably have something very similar in Mexico."
This
Uh, yeah, so in Cuba, there's this tradition. It's a lot like hip hop, in that it's called Pie Forzado, which means that you'll be like, it'll be a bunch of people. There'll be somebody playing tres or guitar,
Mm-hmm.
and somebody from the audience yells out a line, and immediately the poet, who is a musician that's singing and improvising, has to be able to put together a 10-line song that the final line is the one that person yelled out from the
Oh,
audience.
wow.
Yeah, so it's called Punto, it's Pia Forsell. And yeah, I just started talking to this older musician and told him how much I love that style, Pia Forsell. And he's like, "Oh yeah, well do it to me." And so
Oh.
I did it to him, and I just like pulled out my phone and recorded it, and that's who you hear in the beginning of the
Oh, that's
recording.
awesome. That's really
Yeah.
it's quite more than just it's quite a thing, man. More than just here's a new there's this whole history behind it and how are you connecting, right? It's a would you say that this with this album it's like a way to maybe it's not the first time, but it's a way also to connect to this music of your roots and stuff like that. That's very interesting. I find
Yeah.
it very amazing, man. Yeah. The whole what about the rest of the who's in this album though? Is it just
Uh,
the trio, or who else do you have throughout the album?
yeah, the majority of the album is trio. There are some tracks, yeah, there's some solo tracks that I'm just playing by myself, and then there's one track with a string quartet as well.
Mm,
I can't seem to get away from them. Uh,
right.
yeah,
Man, strings personally, they've always had like I haven't actually had the opportunity to work with strings, but it's something to definitely want to do it. It's just I actually had
yeah,
almost like I was almost gonna do it while my undergrad, and then it just didn't work out. But I love the work that you do with strings and the way that this music is, like you said, and it's like jazz, right? I mean, like the tradition of jazz, like of how important it is to understand the whole story behind it. If as we are learning how to play, how to improvise, and that now how to incorporate some of these things, man. I appreciate all the stuff that you've been sharing with us. Tell us what's next for Fabian Almanza. What do you want? What do you want to happen for you, or what are your plans or your hopes to in your career as a composer, pianist?
Uh, I mean, the same as when I started. I'm just fascinated by music. I just want to learn more about it. I'm doing some film scoring stuff now, and my dream, honestly, my absolute dream in life would be to score a nature documentary. That I feel like would just put everything together for me.
That's really
So
cool.
yeah, but yeah, as I mentioned earlier, I'm taking conducting lessons. Her name is Jessica Gethin. She's the conductor at the Western Australia Symphony Orchestra.
Nice.
And I'm really interested in composing for orchestra more. So that's where that's the thing, that's the crazy thing I'm trying to do now. So
Well, it's good that it's still music related, and you're giving us we're eager to hear this, or orchestral pieces. That would be amazing, man. That would be amazing to hear
I
some of your
still
pieces.
I still haven't heard it, but I know I did a tour with Marcus Gilmore a while back, and he was in the process of composing some stuff for orchestra. It was tied in with Sakir Hussain somehow. I think Sakir,
Hmm.
I don't know how, but yeah, I've been really curious to hear what Marcus wrote. Have you heard it by any chance?
I haven't, no, but now
Yeah,
that you tell me, I think I'm gonna go and try to see if I can find it.
I mean, can you imagine an orchestra piece by freaking Marcus Gilmore?
Yeah, it must be fun stuff for sure. I
Yeah,
mean, man, probably, I'm always like as well, learning music and everything, and then especially just introduced to like music history and all those things. Then that's when I started like really expand a little more in classical music. I had more of a thing where I wanted to play jazz. I didn't want to play classical music. I was just like, I don't, come on, don't get me to play classical music. Until like I found the right piece, and then I was just like, oh my god, what is this? I started
yeah,
playing. I started playing with the Wind Symphony back in college, and just to hear the beautiful things that you could do with all these different instruments. And
yeah.
so I remember finishing some of these rehearsals and just going to the conductor and just being like, what was that chord? And he would show me the score, and he was like, it's just a C major chord. And I was like, no way. And then it's just being fascinated by like how this combination of intervals, it just would sound so amazing. But and
It'd be funny if he was like, yeah, see, it's a C major chord, but you guys all played the wrong notes. So it's like,
so that's why it sounded cool, because
yeah,
no, but yeah, man. And then hearing Miguel Sanon, oh my
yeah,
god, man, with
yeah,
strings and the mix of the saxophone with his, oh my, it just kind of, I think for me personally, hearing him with strings, it was the introduction to, I'm sure there's a lot more stuff that I need to learn more about, but for like my particular experience hearing him with strings was like the first introduction to like, oh wow, to both worlds of like this beautiful sound that classical music has been using of the strings, and now incorporated into this like beautiful harmonies that he creates. And
man, I have an interesting story about. First of all, I think he is incredible. I mean, I don't like to say people are geniuses because that's a term reserved for
right,
actual geniuses, but he comes damn close.
yeah,
So I remember I was mixing something at what's the studio that closed in Brooklyn?
um
I'm blanking out on
what
the
is it,
name.
bunkers? No, it's not. No,
No, I can't.
samurai, or what is it called? I thought there was,
No, it closed like maybe 2 years ago. Everybody used to record there. I'm blanking out on the name right now.
yeah,
But anyway, I was going in to mix something, and like it was, we mixed one day, and then like I was like 3 or 4 days later, going in for another mixing session. And for me, this is like almost a year after I had recorded the actual music that was getting mixed.
uh-huh,
So that first day of the mixing session, Miguel was there recording that one of those albums with a large ensemble.
yeah.
And so like, I was just like, let's just hold off on the mixing. I just want to go check this out. So I checked out a little bit of it. I came back like 3 or 4 days later, and Miguel was there finishing up, mixing, mastering everything. In 4 days, he did the whole thing. Yeah, it's just
crazy.
I mean, for all the musicians listening, that we can like record something, and then it takes like 6 months before anything happens. Like within like 4 days, he had recorded it, mixed it, and mastered it, and was done.
Let's
It
go.
was crazy.
Yeah, this guy is unbelievable. When I first met him, it was wonderful to hear him with his quartet with Henry Cole, right? With Henry. Man, Henry's killing this whole. It's like another group that we were talking about earlier with Keith Jarrett. It's Miguel Senone's quartet. It's like woo, amazing.
Yeah.
Man, I wish I could stay and talk to you longer, but my wife's gonna kill me if I don't wrap it up, but it's been wonderful, man, to have you and to talk in this space virtually. I hope I get to hear your music live, but definitely I'm gonna go. I already bought your album Alcanza, so I'm gonna be checking it out for sure. And,
thank you.
And probably steal a couple of your things there. I would love to do something like that. So I'm gonna try to keep writing stuff. That's one thing that I do enjoy of these things is that I get inspired too as well, and then we get to share all the things that you want to share with us, with our audience. So I have to. I'm gonna wrap it up, man. How about we just let's just, before we finish, I'd like to show them the film scoring, because this is something that I'm very fascinated. This is I just want to make sure this is actually set up correctly. But if not, apologize. I'll fix it up as it goes. Hold on, I think I'm.
You don't want to show like kittens playing with feathers or something.
Yeah. Let me see if this is actually gonna work. Well, let me try it. This is this Exit, right? This is, what's the name of this?
Yeah, it's Exit. It's the work of Daniel Zimbler. He's a director and writer based out of South Africa. And I've never seen that HBO show with the dragons and stuff, Game of Thrones. But I've been told that the actor is in Game of Thrones.
Oh, okay. Let's check it out. Let me see if it's set up correctly. If not, I'll try to set it up. We'll find out pretty soon. Okay, this is Exit, and you wrote this music that we're gonna listen to, right?
Yep.
Okay, here we go. Okay, so that's not working the way that I would like it to work. So we'll share it. We'll share a link, maybe. If this is this already up somewhere that we can check it out later, maybe.
I'm not sure. This was a while back. Do you have the Keanu Reeves one though? Because that was pretty hilarious. If you want to play that one.
That is. Let me see. I believe I have it here, and. Yes.
So this one's more of an exercise. It's not like an actual film score. But I'm in Australia, and Linda and I really prioritized what we brought here. So I brought 2 pairs of pants and a couple of shirts and 2 bata drums. So they're here's the okonkolo right here.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, I scored the scene where Keanu Reeves learns how to he learns kung fu. So I rescored this a la Cuban. So it's got bata drums in it. But the main idea of the score is that it hits certain action points. That's the exercise. So this is like the Hanon version of film scoring exercises.
Nice.
Film scoring technique.
Okay, let's see. I think I gotta set it up. This is like you mentioned, this is a section of the movie Matrix, but now with rescored by Fabian. We're playing Batas. Hope you enjoy it. All right, man. That was that was something else for sure. So yeah, love your writing. Like I said, man, thank you so much for your time and for all the things that you're doing to bring awareness of how with your music with your label, Biophilia Records. Go out there and check out what Biophilia is doing. I believe it's something super interesting to do. Yes.
Just a couple of things to mention that we do have a subscription service. We've been hit pretty hard by COVID, so we're just trying to stay alive. So if you want to join the subscription service, you can do it in Bandcamp as well, where you get all of the albums from our back catalog and all the future digital releases. And tomorrow, Bandcamp is doing that free, not free, sorry. Bandcamp doesn't take a cut. The entirety of the money goes to the artist. So I'm not speaking for myself. I'm speaking for the artists on the label. They can all use your patronage and your support. So if you have the means, I'm talking like a real Cuban with my hands. So
That's great. Yeah.
So if you have the means, please help. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome, man! Subscription, then. Oh, wow, that's awesome. What? So we could just go to your website and find out more about that. So I mean,
in Bandcamp. So just type in Biophilia Records. And by the way, I didn't mention earlier, biophilia is the word means an innate attraction or love for living things. So love of nature, essentially.
There you go. So if you love things and nature and music, check out Biophilia. Check out Fabian Almazan's music. He's a wonderful composer, pianist, arranger, and a person. Thank you again, Fabian, so much.
Thank
for
you.
the people listening next time, next Wednesday, we have EJ Strickland. So tune in for sure. EJ is going to be giving us some nice insight on what he's doing lately and his music. So please tune in. Thank you, Fabian, again, and I'll see you next time. Okay? Yeah, go ahead.
Say hi to EJ. The Strickland brothers also went to the high school I went to, so they were like mythological gods there as well. So yeah. Yeah.
Okay, I'll tell them that you say hi from all the way up from above, right? And them above.
Yeah.
All right, man. You take care. Say hi to your wife, and hopefully, after all this goes down, we can hang out one day and have some dinner or something. All right.
Yeah, sounds good. All right, Lynn.
All right, take care. Oh yeah,
All right.
see you. Okay, next
Bye.
time. All right.
See ya.